Hi, I hope that you're doing well. I felt called to go live today. Been waiting all day for the message. I thought before coming on live that I was just gonna just look into the camera and start chatting. But a few minutes before coming onto this live just now, I've been going off about it slightly on Twitter about the frequency of the truth. I am experiencing the repercussions. Well, I don't know if I'm experiencing it. I'm witnessing it through someone I care deeply about so that it feels like it's a personal experience for me. And their lack of identifying how to locate and be in their truth is obviously affecting the way that they're able to show up in our connection. So, in that way, it is affecting me. And I'm also witnessing to an extent how a lack of showing up fully in your truth, not just in half of it, like the whole thing, is affecting not just this person who I'm referencing, but other people who I'm referencing. And to a certain extent, it's also affecting me. As an aside, the date that I'm recording this on the 23rd of August, 2025, a few days after what I think has been one of the most effective 8-8 portals that I've ever experienced and that I think has ever transpired in the history of time, again, because of the times that we're in right now and because of how energetically potent everything is. I'm experiencing currently the physical symptoms of ascension with the blocked ears and the emotional sensitivity and physical aches, a certain brain fog or haze. But I also feel a sense of clarity just in the connection to my truth and in how important it is to show up in truth, which, as per the title of this live, I felt inspired to yap about and pull cards on. But just to, I guess, read on what I'm feeling and to touch on what I think has been an extension of the 8-8 portal. And I think I've mentioned this in previous live readings that I've done. However, I have to admit I haven't been keeping up with any of my worky work. Initially, I would do a live, watch it after, keep up with the details that I mentioned. But these days I've been just yapping, logging off, and trying my best to be present in real life with also everything that I've been processing emotionally and physically, so that I can't really confirm what I have said or haven't said. But I'm pretty sure that I've referenced this test that we're all collectively going through of empowerment versus victimhood. And I mentioned this via Twitter about how if you are somebody who's naturally inclined to empowerment, then technically you've already passed all of these tests. And these seasons, these astrological and energetic waves that we've been going through have thankfully, hopefully, been particularly easy for you, or easier than most. If you keep your antennas out, you'll notice a lot of people have been saying that they've been going through a very shit time, especially these past, I'd say about 5-6 weeks. This past week and a bit specifically, a lot of people have been getting ill on my side of the world, in South Africa, Johannesburg specifically. Lots of people falling ill with throat things, nasal things. It's interesting because in my community, how I perceive people getting ill is they just weren't warm enough. I went out with someone who doesn't have any hair on their head and they got sick because it was a cold. Well, I assumed they got sick because it was a cold night and we were out and they didn't have anything to cover their head. But then another person who hadn't been out also got sick. So it just feels like it's that time, one of those patterns, I guess. And being sick is a disempowering experience if it is that if you don't feel particularly connected to your physical body. And it was also an invitation to empower yourself in that experience and connect with your physical body. So lots of empowerment versus disempowerment, victim. I'm a victim in a situation versus I'm in control, and I'm in control in the sense that I can take control of what I can and release what I cannot. The serenity prayer. So that is the sense of what I've been feeling. Feels like we've all been going through that. And branching off onto the frequency of empowerment, what I think is being pressed onto all of us collectively is the reminder and I guess the signal that, or I guess the what can I say, the pressure, I don't know, the lesson of how when you are most empowered. Anyone generally is most empowered when they're living in their truth. No, it feels like that's the question that the universe is posing to all of us, and it's a question because a lot of people also seem to be resisting this. They seem to be resisting the invitation or the possibility that you are your most empowered when you are your authentic self. There are people who are saying, no, that's absolutely not true. And it's been confusing to me because I do not doubt that. I haven't ever doubted that. I am in 8th house, 8th house and 12th house in Vedic astrology. So I don't understand what it is to not follow your authenticity. And I was actually called out for it recently, chatting with someone who was very sincerely expressing to me how riddled in lies their life is right now. And I immediately burst out laughing. And thank goodness I was speaking to somebody who values their integrity in that way, so that they were able to immediately express, yo, I'm not okay with the fact that you laughed, because I expressed that sincerely, and when you laughed, I felt like you were invalidating what I'm trying to tell you. And the reason that I laughed at hearing that is because I don't understand why someone would lead, or I don't understand how at this point, especially if you're someone who tunes into my work and you feel like you vibe with what I say, I don't understand how anyone could be caught up in a web of lies at this point in the game. However, I feel empathetic towards people who are in that position, who feel like they're living a life that is not true to how they feel or to how they perceive their lives and understand their reality. It's extremely unfortunate, and I obviously know what that's like. I think the whole lot of us are initiated into that. It's very painful. So I get it. I just think that with how everything has been since 2020, 2018, for some people as far as back as 2014, 2015, it feels like, wow, what are we still doing, lying to ourselves at this point in the game, you know? And that extends to the title that I've put of this live stream. If you, the pressure's real. The energetic pressure is so fucking real right now. And I believe it is because of the fact that inauthenticity, the frequency of it, the feeling of it in your body, it is becoming completely unfucking acceptable. Not just by you, by the literal cells. And you know how I love to talk about it, if you're someone who keeps up with my shit. The literal cells, the atoms in existence, the air we breathe is saying, fuck you and your lies. You are not going to be lying anymore. Yeah, I've actually been getting a lot of that energy directed towards me, and I've had to, and I feel like I've done this enough at this point, and yeah, it's been very complicated to process in my body, but I've been getting a lot of kind of violent, aggressive, but I think mostly aggressive because I'm not an aggressive person. So anything that's a little bit above a line of aggression for me is like, whoa, stop shouting, even if they're not shouting, you know? But I've been getting a lot of, you're lying, you don't know the truth, you don't know yourself, you don't know what you're talking about. And I know that feeling already. I grew up with that energy, you know? So it obviously triggered this inner child in me that goes, oh my God, maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't actually know what I'm talking about. And it sends me into this existential crisis normally. But thankfully, and this is something that I'm also feeling into the vibe, is that it's like there's this source of empowerment that's floating around us right now that we have an opportunity to grab at, but we have to believe that it's there, you know? We have to it's really complicated, but we have to be able to recall that we can do this in a moment where we are feeling triggered, like we are victims, disempowered, etc., etc. We have to be able to remember to be like, wait, I can choose something different right now. What can I choose? So when someone points at you and they say, you are lying, you are not being truthful, blah, 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 blah. We instead of coiling within, bending our backs, getting afraid, we can open up, and I open up by being curious and saying, and try to, I guess, referring back to the way that I delivered this energy. At first I was like, maybe I'm not, oh my God. Instead it can be, am I? Do I really not know myself? If I don't know myself, then how can I get to know myself right now? How can I go about understanding what this person is talking about? Do they know me? Do I? You know what I mean? Doing it with a straight back versus doing it with a bent back. Doing it with hope rather than doing it with fear. Doing it with an openness of understanding. And further exploring, further going within. Further exploring versus being too afraid to look further, unpack further. And I think that that is what is being, that's the trouble, I guess, with what's happening right now, is that we're all very afraid. We're very, very scared, and it's understandable, and it's okay. Hold on. Then let me finish recording. Understandably, everybody is afraid. It makes sense. Please don't do that. It makes sense for people to be afraid of what's happening right now. There's too many unknown factors to unpacking your truth. There's too many. There's the question of what's going to happen after this is way too big. It's way too heavy, understandably so. And if you are in this position where you're feeling, I'm specifically feeling into a frequency of dissatisfaction, of looking at things on the surface level and thinking this looks fine, It looks like it makes sense. This person is seemingly behaving in a way that is respecting my boundaries, or in a way that I'm used to, in a way that is comfortable. If I were to relay this experience I'm having to someone else, there wouldn't be any complaints from that person. No one would, from the outside, no one would find anything wrong with what I'm experiencing. But internally, I can feel that something is off. I'm dissatisfied by something. I feel incomplete. This is what I feel a large collective is going through. There's this feeling of like, it's almost like a Four of Cups energy. Wish I could find it in the deck now, of just this like really kind of eerie, unsettling dissatisfaction. And there's no direct solution as to how to deal with it. And because the solution isn't direct, and it's not loud, and it's underneath a lot of dust and gunk and spiderwebs and shit, and it's going to take some uncomfortable sitting with uncomfortable emotions to unpack that. Because of the discomfort of it, everybody's afraid. Nobody wants to dig in those shadow boxes. And I'm tapping into the fact that a lot of us are tired of it. We feel we've done enough shadow work. We've done enough unpacking the darkness, facing it, going through shit, processing, healing. Like it feels like, and I've spoken on this frequency before, we've been tired, but it feels like now it's like, whoa, like, whoa, hold on. You telling me this really doesn't end? Like, we really just gonna keep healing and healing and healing? I saw a tweet from a Vedic astrologer who spoke about the gifts of the 12th house and how the isolation aspect of it is actually a gift, and da 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 da. And the 12th house responded and said, well, this is good and all, but when does it actually end? And the Vedic astrologer, Astro Council Vic, responded to say, it ends when you sit in the silence and you can hear it speaking back to you. And you're open to receiving that answer. That's very important, because hearing your inner knowing, hearing that unsettling discomfort, hearing the understanding that there's something very wrong with this. I can't pinpoint it, but there is something wrong. That's one thing. But accepting it is a whole other thing. Please, can you go to the room, baby, if you want to play this? Accepting and receiving it and like wearing it is a whole other thing that causes its own range of triggers and habits of projection in people. And so this layer of like addressing, this layer of shadow work is very, I think it's gunkier than what we've dealt with before, because of how, like I said, the frequency, the shadow of it, the darkness, it's covered in a whole bunch of light. It takes an extra push of being willing to be uncomfortable. It takes like digging even deeper. And again, it's like, have we not dug deep enough, you know? I'm remembering the reading that I did for this year. The first card that I believe fell out was the Four of Swords. And this energy is giving that. The Four of Swords coupled with the Hermit and with the Death card, which I've been receiving in personal readings and seeing in other people's readings as well. There is a lot of and the Wheel, which is another card that's been falling out very often for me in my own personal readings that I've been doing for myself. There is a lot of very intense, these shifts that are happening right now are very extremely intense, but they're happening so subtly and in such tiny increments that You almost think that nothing is happening. And again, it's a frequency I addressed where it's like you're looking at the thing, you can feel so deep within you that there is something off. But because everything seems to be going fine, and this person seems to be saying the right things to you, or they seem to be respecting your boundaries, or you seem to be behaving in a way that is acceptable either to you, to some past version of yourself, mind you, or to the people around you, that everything's okay. But your inner knowing knows. And there's no greater time. I keep saying this. There's no greater time than right now, in this very moment that you're watching this, to trust your intuition. Trust that inner knowing. And I believe that what the whole lot of our inner knowings are saying, and that links to why everything is feeling a little skew, not totally out of whack, but a little bit like what? Is again, Four of Swords. You're not supposed to do anything drastic with it yet, not right now. I've been feeling very impatient with the energy because I'm deeply sensitive, and I say this from a point of torture because because it's been very difficult to to make sense of everything, honestly. So now I've forgotten what I was going to what I was going to carry on with, but oh yes, no, okay, wait, let me find myself. The energy, the shift is subtle, but the work that it's doing to change everything is not. The newness that is to come out of this, and I think what we're experiencing now has to do with the fact that, has to do with what a lot of readers have been saying and reiterating since the beginning of this year, that whatever you thought was going to happen by December, January 2026, whatever you thought was coming is nothing that you can actually conceptualize. It is going to look so different for you in the next few months. And I think that we're energetically preparing for that difference. It might be a very huge shock to the system. And as such, try to be patient. Try not to push yourself. Oh, yes, thank you. I'm finding myself now. Because the changes are so intense, you may feel drawn to want to change in things. Yes, like I had been explaining, I've been feeling very impatient. It's been feeling huge to me. But so it's feeling intense here, and then on this level it's feeling a little bit subtle, and then on this level it's like, oh, nothing's happening, actually everything's the same. You know when to make the move. You will know when to do something. You will feel it. You will feel it overcome you. It will almost take over all of your senses, and you'll find yourself literally carrying actions out, going, I don't know why I felt I needed to do that, but I did it. Or it'll be in a moment where you'll be like, I don't know why I felt like I needed to apply to that job. I don't know why I felt like I needed to contact this person. I don't know why I felt like I needed to send that message. I don't even know where I got the words from to say this thing that I said, but I just felt like I needed to do it. I needed to say it. That is your inner knowing. That is your connection to source. Even if the action that you carry out is something chaotic or what you perceive as destructive, understand that it is coming from a knowing. It's coming from the source, right? From the root of existence, not just of this earth, but of the entire universe. We are that connected, and we always have been. And that is why the title of this live stream is so important, why everything that we've all been yapping about since this whole year, and since 2018, and since, for every single global awakening that has happened, that's why we've been reiterating, saying we have always been part, a very integral part of the very fabric of existence. We are part of that blanket. We always have been. You've always been able to trust it. it is very important that you do so now more than ever. Trust that you will do the right thing, say the right thing at the right time, even if someone accuses you of having done the wrong thing, and even if that someone is yourself. Just flow. It's time for the whole lot of us to be in a constant flow state. It is possible. That flow state is blissful, even if you're feeling sad, angry, whatever. It is possible to be in a constant state of flow and bliss, even through all the ups and downs. We are achieving it. It is happening right now. Very exciting times, very intense times, very heavy times, but still very, very good because it's evolutionary. And evolution, growing, moving forward, progression, that is the purpose of life, whether you are a plant or a bug or a rock. The purpose of life is forward, becoming, blossoming, unfurling, and then dying, and then unfurling again. You know what I mean? The process. So the sooner that you can accept that, the sooner that you can come into your authenticity, whatever you define that as for you, remembering that it changes each moment because we are multifaceted as human beings. There is no one way to be. People can only ever accuse you. As an example, if anyone points to you to say you don't know yourself, or even you try point to your own self, because that's a theme that's been recurring in my own life and in the lives of people I love. This line of, you don't know yourself. You don't know yourself enough. You lack control. Nonsense. If you ever get that line, I hope that you're able to remember to remedy it with the understanding that the self is extremely malleable, very changeable. And that in itself is an activation of your human authenticity, accepting the fact that we are multifaceted. Our truths can change. That's part of the power and the gift of consciousness. And that in itself is our truth, right? And it's from there that you are able to find your truth moment to moment, whatever that may be. A constant truth is love. A constant truth is expansion, curiosity, openness. Do everything you can to achieve that frequency, to feel it in your body. It is again why I say you are able to be in a perfect, blissful flow state, even if you're angry, as long as you're open and you're curious and you're not constricted. Please remember this versus this. A slouched back, heavy shoulders versus an open chest, you know, a flexible diaphragm. Remember to breathe. Your truth is also located in your breath. If you feel so overwhelmed, you don't know left from right, and you can't put your string of thoughts together, breathe, and then let your breath lead you. We have to really rely on our tools right now. There is very little that is going to help. If you are somebody who seeks external validation, or you're used to that kind of thing, if you're in codependent connections, it's all going to start weighing on you. So just look out for that. We're all victim to it. It happens. We're human. We have to keep an eye on any like degenerate material in our worlds, anything that's holding us back or making us go backwards or slowing us down in a way. It's going to be zapped at. I imagined that kind of action of just like a laser, like the way the way a tattoo removal goes. That's how it feels. It's happening with all of us. Let me finish. Okay, I'm going to pull a few cards now. See what the cards have to say. Although I think this is one of those channelings where all I had to do was just yap a bit. Hey, Peladi. Yeah. I feel like I do have to address that I'm apologetic for not having shown up. Like I said, the energies have been very, very intense, and I just don't. I'm still feeling into. And okay, this is not from a frequency of disempowerment. Feeling I'm feeling into the fact that what I or any other reader has to say, yeah, it feels like there's not going to be enough to describe the changes that are happening, the things that each of us need to do. It feels as well like while there is a collective theme almost always unfolding, the what is necessary for each individual to do is so individual that these collective readings aren't, I don't really feel as though they're doing the kind of justice that can be done if you just dedicate time for yourself to just tap into your intuition and see what your inner knowing has to say. So I'm going to pull a few cards, see what comes up, explore the energies of really just a few cards, and then I will have to wrap it up. And then I definitely feel like I owe a tarot and chill. Yeah, that's it. so I'll definitely figure out how to do that tomorrow around between 12 and like 5 p.m. my time. And I'll be sure to try to be a little bit loud about it, make announcements and whatever the fuck. I don't really know how to do that part. But like I said, because tomorrow is going to be Sunday, it'll be nice and slow. I'll make sure I'll go in a 2-hour window where you'll definitely be able to catch me at some point, even if it's for like 10 minutes towards the end. So let's see what the cards are saying. I was on the phone with a friend earlier today as well, and I feel called to suggest that you don't go out right now. Very random one, but if you can help it, please try to stay in until the end of the month, especially with whatever illness is going around right now. If you don't have the will to be able to overcome it, or if you have a really busy schedule, I think the last thing you want to do is catch whatever's floating in the air. It's physically taxing. It doesn't feel like something normal when you get it. Yes, fine, COVID, whatever, but it just feels very heavy on the body when you get sick with whatever's going on right now. So yeah, if you can help it, please stay in. If you do go out, please look after your immune system. Make sure you're putting lemon in your water and eating foods that are beneficial to your physical well-being and not like the fast food stuff. And if you do have fast food, please make sure you hydrate. Okay, so I've pulled out 5 cards, one after the other. And just like I'd mentioned, the 4 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So, yeah. I was shuffling earlier and got these cards, these very same cards as well. So we have the 7 of Cups, the 1 of Discs, the 2 of Rods, the 5 of Cups, and the Queen of Swords. All of these cards together, I'm just going to say random things that are coming at me and then wrap it up, because Yeah, this was a very impromptu live, so I'm cutting into time that I'm supposed to be giving towards winding down. So, something that I'm receiving from all of these cards laid out here, and something that actually surprisingly helped me earlier, is sacral massages, doing whatever you can to connect to the body in a very slow way. Not just a sacral massage, massaging the hands and the feet. And if you are a boob owner, massaging the breasts as well has been surprisingly helpful for me. Connecting with your menstrual cycle, if you're on your period or if it is coming soon, just look out for that and be sure to be grounded in that experience. Beware of giving into the narrative of rejecting your cycle or being annoyed that it's there and being impatient with it, wanting it to leave as soon as possible. I'm guilty of that. And then I also spoke with my friend about this today, about how a lot of us are very closed off. We're very prepared for we're prepared for a volcano erupting that likely won't erupt at all. And in preparing for that volcano eruption, it's as if we are going to bring an eruption because of that. Like our manifestations are a little bit perverse right now because we are bracing ourselves for the kind of grief and shadow and darkness, the shadow I was talking about earlier. We're bracing ourselves for more of it. We're really tired, probably very exhausted. I know I am. Tired of expecting the best, hoping for the best, trying our best to manifest the best, but none of it coming. We are hold out, basically, hold out hope. We're getting confirmation that we don't have to prepare for this volcano will not erupt. You're preparing for bad news. You don't have to. You're preparing for bad news that's not going to come. In a reading I watched by Queen Cup, I'll link that in the description, she spoke about how there's a lot of us who are prepared. We want to show up in our truth. We want to be authentic, but in our minds, we think that something is going to erupt and shit all over our intention to be truthful. We're assuming that things are going to go bad via our expressing our truth or just being in our truth, and nothing's actually going to go bad. This card speaks of not using of straying away from using logic. Logic is not the best way to decide whatever you need to decide, or it. And now I'm receiving immediately as well that it's probably logic that's telling you to prepare for the worst, but you need to throw that out the window. It feels like you don't have the kind of clarity you think you do on something. And again, it extends to the energy I was talking about earlier, where it's like you're looking at something and you can feel that something's off, or you can feel that something is going on beneath the surface, but you don't. There's no inspiration to make a move yet because you don't have all the information. And with this card, I'm feeling into the fact that part of why some of the information is hidden is because a lot of us are still operating in grief. We're still operating in our shadow. We haven't released all that we need to release. We think we have because we hope we have, because we're really tired at this point, and that's understandable. But it's still not done. The grief work still isn't done. And as I mentioned, I think you can find surprising release in a lot of the grief that's stored in your body by massaging your sacral points, massaging your chakra points, but specifically the sacral and the root. The belly button, doing circles around the belly button is very helpful. Massaging the feet too, very important, and the hands, as I mentioned earlier. It feels like this is us, and we are holding the coin in our hands. You know what I mean? Just the visual representation of it. Again, like I mentioned, the work is being done. Major shifts happening right now. This coin is spinning. This is a mandala vision. So everything is turning. You know what I mean? It's happening. And we can trust that. We can trust our process. We can put the sword down. Please put the sword down, Please stop preparing for something that's not going to happen. Yes, there is smoke. Absolutely. Things are awry. Things are weird. Something's off. You can feel it. But there is no danger. None of these cards are reading into the fact that there is any kind of bad or like there's no sense of terror or awfulness that we need to prepare for. We just need to give ourselves, our bodies, room to process. It's been a very tough year. It's been a very tough year. And as we're all transitioning into our respective new seasons, we have to take stock of everything that we've processed. Our bodies need to take stock of what we've processed. It's time to rest if you can. Take some time off work. Create a long weekend for yourself. Write a fake sick note. I love to suggest that. Call in sick, There is... I'm getting the sense of a lot of body work. A lot of yoga, if you can help it. Stretch every day. Create a routine for yourself to assist your body in moving these energies through so that you can stop being so emotionally exhausted. Because, it feels more like a blockage thing. Again, you're preparing for something. You're preparing for a bad that is not going to happen. We're very deluded by grief right now, which is fair. I'm also getting into the sense that it may be possible that you are going through something wonderful. You are experiencing a real life oncoming of a manifestation that you've been waiting for a very long time. You either are or you will. And as it arrives, you can't seem to enjoy it in the way that you thought you would. Again, it's because of this grief that needs to be processed. It needs to move through your body. Put down the sword, you know what I'm saying? And give yourself a chance to be in the moment. Don't think that your thinking mind is going to help you and make sense of what's happening. Hey, Crystal. I'm all right, thank you. Okay, and that is all I have. That's all I've got. I think if there's anything else, I can unpack it in tomorrow's individuals. You can catch me on the Tarot and Live tomorrow. And it feels, again, like I've said, all of what these energies are representing, they feel very individual. So again, like I've said, yes, hey, Carrie. I hope you're well. Like I've said, while this is a very collective energy that I'm reading into, it feels like the way these stories are playing out are very individual, and it may be possible that what I'm saying doesn't give, it can't give the full picture of what you may be going through. So if anything, please look into meditating and being still, resting as often as you can. Take as many naps as possible. If you're so inclined, if your body can actually do that. And if you're looking for anything individual, any individual readings, you can obviously always DM me, reach out to me via social media, or from when I'm recording this, you can catch me on a Tarot and Live that I'm going to be doing tomorrow between 12 and 5 South African time. I'll be on for 2 hours, so you're definitely going to catch me. And I'll be more than happy to pull cards for each of your individual experiences so we can understand what it is that we need to do about what our souls are going through right now, because it's a lot. And I send my love, and please don't ever doubt that you can't do it. whatever it is, whatever the fuck it is, don't ever think that you can't do it. You can do anything. Know this and don't ever think otherwise, because thinking otherwise is poison that you don't need. You don't need to think that anything is impossible. It's literally unnecessary. Thank you as always for tuning into my work. And I will see you next time I'm on live.